Yes, people, what is going on? Manchester City have lost after 23 games or whatever it is. Their unbeaten run is over, and Manchester United, their local rivals, and the team that currently second in the Premier League, are the team to do it. Yeah, 2-0 Man United against Man City, and it wasn't that good of a game of football, was it? Let's be honest, really. But it was one that Man United won. And I know, obviously, if you know anything about me, you know anything about my channel, you know I'm a Chelsea fan. But at the same time, this result for us is awful. Because, I mean, we wanted Man United to drop points, whatever. But honestly, this sounds really bad. I don't know if I should be saying it, but it's really nice to see someone actually beat Man City. It wasn't the result we wanted, and a lot of people wanted, but still at the same time, it's like kind of every cloud, if you know what I mean. The game was massively dominated by Man City, one of these classic games where possession doesn't mean everything. And Man United turned from being, oh, could they potentially do it, into we've gone 1-0 up and we're going to turn into the quite good version of Burnley. We're just going to park the bus and, just do what needs to be done. 2 banks of 4 and bosh, thanks very much. Or a bank of 4 and a bank of 5. It was pretty much a perfect game plan from Man United. But it was massively helped by the clumsiness that was Gabriel Jesus in literally the first minute of the game. I think it was 30 seconds, 32 seconds, something like that. Penalty given away by Gabriel Jesus on Martial, who Gary Neville gave man of the match, by the way, not Anthony Martial. I'm going to give it to Luke Shaw. Come on to that in a moment. But just, why was he there? Why was Gabriel Jesus there? Now, the other thing as well, let's just kind of come on to it. Gabriel Jesus, the false 9 that Man City play works so well. And they've beaten a lot of teams recently by playing the false 9. They bring in Gabriel Jesus, and fun enough, it don't work. Why? Why bring him in? Honestly, I understand, of course, you think, well, natural centre forward, it's going to make a little bit different. But he was always going to get outdone by Maguire, who is not that good of a centre half, and Lindelof. If one didn't deal with you, the other one would. It just made no sense. So these were the false 9. It's like, okay, well, wait, we don't want to get near these people. We want to try and create massive overload in midfield and dominate it, which they could have done, actually, if they'd have thought about it. The attackers, in terms of Sterling, just kept missing sitter after sitter after sitter. And he just, I don't know what it is. But any time he played against Man United, he just does not turn up. He just does not turn up. And one that went for his legs would have made it 2-1 and would have brought the game back into it. And, it could have been interesting for the last 15 minutes. But instead, you get a penalty in the first minute. Obviously, it gets converted by Bruno Fernandes. And Edison does enough to get a hand on it, not enough to keep it out. It's actually a good... it's a good hand to it. He goes down and he does very well, actually, to get where he does. But it's just the power of a penalty which takes it past you. I mean, it's good, but it wasn't good enough. That's the basic way of saying it. I don't know what I'm talking about. It wasn't that good of a penalty, and it wasn't that... Fuck it, I'm moving on. The game after that just turned into what is basically Chelsea every week against lower league sides. That's literally all that happens. I say lower league, lower in the league. There we are, better English. Come on, mate, focus. Better in lower in the league sides. I mean, Chelsea is the higher ranked team, the more dangerous team. Everyone can just come and park the bus against us and many teams alike. And that is exactly what Man United did. But when they've got 2 big centre halves in Lindelof and Maguire, as well as Shaw, who is very defensively... Sure. Quite funny. Not really. Wan-Bissaka, who's better defensively than he is going forward as well. It was always nice to see. I say defensively. He's better defensively when they're set. When they're on the counter-attack, or when they're trying to defend a counter-attack, it's, curtains, if you ask me. But either way, he does enough to be sure of where they were. And Man City had to try and break it down. And when you had Foden as a false 9, Foden was another person that could pick a pass. He could just kind of just slot one in between 3 or 4 people or whatever. Just break a line and someone gets half a chance to shoot and whatever. Henderson did make some good stops in goal, though, to be fair. Not wonders, but some good stops. If you would have had Foden, you'd have broken up those lines a lot more. But instead they played Gabriel Jesus, and he just had nowhere near the same impact. They wanted to bring in De Bruyne. You could have even played De Bruyne as that false 9. It would have made a lot more sense. But Gundogan and De Bruyne kept on kind of not getting in each other's way, but they wanted to occupy the same spaces, and they couldn't do it. Plus the fact that They then had Gabriel Jesus that was just running around like a headless chicken. Sterling couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo. Mahrez just wants to take on 3 people via about 15 step-overs and then just blast it. It was very easy to play against. You always knew Mahrez was going to cut in on his on his left foot from the right-hand side. Never went outside, and if he did, it was just awful. So you always knew that wasn't going to be a problem. The inverted winger then of Sterling on the other side, who's naturally better on his right foot. He comes inside, he doesn't do anything. So everything was so narrow. Then they had the fullbacks who tried to get down the outside, but what were you aiming for? Really, what were you aiming for? It just makes no sense. But, hey... Excuse me. They did that for 45 minutes, no luck. And then they thought, okay, the second half, what should we do? Well, we'll try a different kind of tactic. But they didn't even get a chance to do that because 2-0, Man United. And it was Luke Shaw. It's Luke Shaw, and Rashford does really well. And he kind of drags the ball back, and Luke Shaw, he just kind of lays it into a path. And he just digs out this lovely cross-field or cross-goal shot that he shouldn't really have the audacity to take on as a fullback. When I say a fullback, I mean a fullback of his calibre. He's not hyped the same way a Trent is, or even a Reece James is, or some of the best in the world, Cancelo or whoever. But he does this really, really good job of digging out a possibility, digging one out and creating a bit of luck for himself, which is half of what the battle is for so many teams that they aren't doing at the moment. Luke Shaw does it, and fun enough, it goes in, and we're all really surprised. That's what he can do. It's not something I'm saying he's going to do it every week, but you pop up with one goal like that every now and again, and it helps your team out massively. And that does not happen enough around the league. Again, certain fullbacks, Trent, Robertson, they're the obvious two. They get forward a lot. But there are some very decent fullbacks that do pop up at times, like more traditional fullbacks rather than wing-backs that are playing as fullbacks, if that makes any sense. They do pop up every now and again, create an overload and cause problems. That is what Luke Shaw did. But again, he does that on 1 or 2 incidences. One, of course, goes in from his own shot. Another time, he kind of floods certain people into the box. They have to think about it. But then going the other way, he's just so chill defensively. He was so calm. He had to deal with Mahrez, and it basically allowed him to go onto his left foot, but never in a position where he could have cracked off such a beautiful shot. Then he enforced him going down the outside, and he did nothing, and he was completely useless. Unfortunately, I put Mahrez to be fantasy team captain this week. So, you know, a waste of time for me. Hopefully it didn't save. I don't know, probably did, but there we are. Yeah, no, it was a very strange one, honestly, for me, as a game. I'm really happy that Man City have lost. I'm really not happy that Man United haven't lost. The one game where the entirety of the league needed Man City to show up, they didn't show up. Yeah, it just makes no sense. I don't know who they play next. I want to say they play Leeds. They play someone in midweek. I can't think of who it is, Man City. But God help them, because they're going to get the backlash. Whatever team it is, they're going to get the backlash. So good luck. You'll probably need it. But yeah, that's just my kind of reaction, first thoughts on the game. It really was not the best game of football in the world. But, you know, Man United, fair play to them. They deserve the win. It wasn't orthodox or conventional, but they did enough. They did enough. So yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. If you like me doing these videos as a neutral, then let me know. I can do more of them. But for now, take care, stay safe. And yeah, fair play, Man United. Not going to clap you, but fair play.